Hey guys, I'm Sydnie Wells and I am in North Georgia with my friend Rob from Antler King. Today we're going to be talking about fall food plots here in the state of Georgia. Georgia is a new state for me to hunt over. I'm lucky to be able to plant food plots for the first time. Where we're at in North Georgia is at the base of the Appalachian Mountains. The terrain's a lot different than where I'm from in Illinois. We've got a lot of hardwoods and a mountainous terrain. So we're going to talk about how to plant fall food plots and be successful with it.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it. This is completely different than anything you and I have ever done before.
So different.
Different. You know,
Midwest.
We're both from Illinois, so it's completely different.
Yeah, so Rob, let's just get straight into it. The most important thing is the soil.
Absolutely.
Soil testing, looking at what kind of crops to plant, what is preferred. What do you got to say about that?
Well, the soil is number one. You know, checking your pH of your soil is the number one step that you need to do. The cheapest step you can do, and it's the number one step most people don't do. And it's just, there's nothing to it. Checking your pH of your soil. You know, we have our own pH test kit that will actually do 4 different plots. You go out, take a soil test from your field. You'll know within 10 minutes by using a little bit of distilled water on what the pH is of your soil. The chart in there will tell you how to raise it up, how many pounds of lime you need to add per acre to raise it up. It's that easy, but it's the number one step most people they walk away from. They just steer away. They think they can add more fertilizer to help their soil. And without the pH being up closer to that 7.0, you're just pretty much throwing $100 bills on the ground with fertilizer, because the pH is actually the tattletale that will allow that plant to intake in the nutrients that you give it. So without the pH being up, the fertilizer is doing no good, especially nitrogen. Nitrogen is going to evaporate into the air.
Is optimal pH then 7.0?
7.0 is neutral. 7.0 is, if you're at that number, then you know that your plants could obtain 100% of the nutrients that you give them.
What's the most acidic you could be and still have optimal growth?
Optimal growth, it's going to depend on the mix you're planting. All planting, just like your perennial plots, they're not going to grow as well. You get into some of your annual mixes, you get into that 5.5 to a 6.0 into that pH level, you're going to get optimal growth out of them. But when it comes to perennials, you need it up to that 6.5 to 7.0.
What is the best all-around, year-round food source here in Georgia?
Oh, if it was me, I'm going clover or alfalfa or a mixture of both. You know, you want to give them, you want to give them deer something to eat 12 months out of the year. So a good perennial blend is going to do that. It's just like a feed program. You know, a lot of people are using feed, but when we're talking about food plots, your perennials are the way to go. You plant them one time, you look at our trophy clover mix, you're getting 7 to 8 good years of maximum growth out of that. The Booner blend with our alfalfa, you're getting a good 5 to 6 years of maximum growth. You'll have growth for years on out, but it just won't be the tonnage that it was the first 7 or so. But you can overseed into that. I have one clover plot in Illinois that's actually 23 years old this year, because I go in every 4th year and I'll overseed into it while the old growth's going out, the new growth's coming in. And it just gives the deer that high protein food source year round.
Are your seeds Roundup ready?
Our seeds are not Roundup ready. We have looked into that, and it's very, very expensive. For somebody that would like to have a plot there that's going to be there for years and years and years, it's well worth the money. A lot easier to maintain. But if you're like me and I like to do a rotation with my annuals and my clovers, I don't want to spend that kind of money, you know, really, because you're looking 3 to 4 times higher than a non-Roundup ready seed.
What about incorporating oats into your alfalfa?
Oats is a great way to use for a nurse crop. You know, with us, for many, many years, actually, the trophy clover blend, you know, you're looking 35 years with that blend right there. We have used a brassica and a trophy rape in it for a nurse crop. Works very well. So using an oat, cereal rye, anything like that is a great way to nurse that crop.
What is the optimal seed depth for alfalfa, clover, the perennials?
You will look on the back of our bags and it will tell you the seed depth that it needs to be, but I'll tell you what, an old farmer told me many, many years ago, you never plant a seed any deeper than 3 times the diameter of the seed. So let's say with clover, a lot of people will tell you plant clover about 1/4 inch deep. If you look at a clover seed or an alfalfa seed, they're the size of a pencil lead. 1/8 of an inch is plenty deep enough. But a lot of times, if you're getting plenty moisture, actually after you work the soil, you broadcast that seed right over the top of the soil and don't work it in, that Mother Nature will set it for you. So them little seeds are good for that. So the worst thing ever is covering them with too much dirt. So never go over a 1/4 inch with the clover and the alfalfa seeds, but I'd rather you stay either on top or no more than 1/8 inch deep.
So we don't have row crops here in Georgia, which is very different for me coming from the Midwest. We got corn and soybean and all that.
Yep.
The biggest thing that I feel like people in Georgia run into is running out of food.
Yep.
How can we combat that?
You can do that 2 different ways, and you combine them together. I mean, you can go with your food plots. You know, that's where the clovers come back in, the alfalfas come back in for a year-round food source, you know, the perennials. You can also do that with a feeding type program. So supplemental feeding is big. I know it's real big down in this area. You just really want to watch what you're feeding them at the time of year you're feeding them, because you actually want to help the deer and not hurt them.
And how do you do that?
Well, with doing that, a whitetail deer can only utilize 16% protein without burning fat off its body. So you take a product, I don't know if we have any here or not, but we have different products that are higher in protein. The high protein products that are higher than 16%, I try to tell people when the bucks start growing their horns, their antlers, to the time they shed that velvet, that's when you want to feed them the high protein. When they lose that velvet, you want to drop down to 16% or less on the protein and bump up the energy. Because a whitetail deer, the only way he can give you 100% the next spring is he has to be 100% going through winter. Well, we all know during the rut, the bucks will lose 25 to 30% of their body weight. The does will too, as in during the rut. So they have to fatten themselves back up. So if you're feeding them a feed, let's say that has 28% protein, that buck's trying to burn fat off his body, or he's burning fat off his body while you're trying to fatten him up. So you want to keep that protein level down during them winter months to at least 16% or less.
Let's kind of talk about too, like the Grainiac and the kitchen sink. I think those are really important supplemental feeds that I have noticed here in Georgia the past year that I've been around here, been able to kind of see the land and also hunt it. The deer love it.
Absolutely. The Grainiac block is, that's our #1 selling block. It's the best block out there. And again, if you look at the protein, the fiber, and energy levels, that block is set to be a year-round food source. It's at 16%, and it works out perfect.
Rob, one thing that I noticed when comparing the Midwest with Georgia is the hardwoods are a lot darker. There's not as much natural vegetation, and deer are natural browsers. They like to browse on at least like 52 different plants a day.
Absolutely.
So how does some of the Antler King supplemental food play into that?
Well, you look at a lot of our feed type programs, especially like the Grainiac block here. If you look at our products, our attractants, some of our feeds, stuff like that, you'll see a label on there that says AMP. That is actually our digestive aid. So deer will eat about anything, just like eating corn. Corn's the worst thing ever. Straight corn's the worst thing ever for a deer because they can't store it properly. But if you use a good digestive aid like we have in our attractants, our feed, and our blocks, then that actually not only helps them store what they're eating in the Grainiac block or our attractants, but their natural browse as well. So it helps them store that so it don't just go in one in and out the other.
How many feed stations do you typically run on a farm?
It's really going to depend on the deer number on the farm. A lot of, you get into the 700, 800, 900, 1,000 acre farms, you're running quite a few feed stations. Usually it's kind of a trial and error to see how much the deer are actually eating. I've seen it down to where a 700 acre farm would have 3 feed stations, and I've also seen with big deer numbers where they'd have 10. So it really is just going to depend on the deer population. But I will tell you, like with our minerals and stuff like that, our Lick Magic, our Trophy Deer Mineral, our Power Rack, I like running 1 mineral lick per 40 acres. So you don't need any more than that. So, it works out very, very well in our testing facilities when we do it that way. But when it comes to supplemental feed, like I say, it's pretty much going to just go off deer numbers.
One thing that I learned from you is we pair the Power Rack and the Trophy Deer Mineral together.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, this started many, many years ago when, Todd, the founder of Antler King, came up with the Trophy Deer Mineral. And, you're looking at 25 different trace minerals and vitamins. It's got everything in it for the healthiness of the deer. Then the competition started moving in. And you started seeing the competition coming in with very high salt content in their so-called minerals. So when you look at a good mineral, anything over 27% of salt is more of an attractant than it is a mineral, because you cannot fit the goodies in there, the trace minerals and vitamins that you need. So when we had people that would use the trophy deer mineral for years, they loved it. But like anything else, when something new comes out, you got to try it.
Yeah.
You got to try it. Everybody's saying something good. So people would pour a competitor's out and they're like, man, the deer are hitting it more than they are yours now. Well, salt is like candy to a deer. I mean, I call it, it's the Reese's peanut butter cup. That's just how it is. They're going to eat the sweet stuff before they eat the medicine. We'd rather eat candy than take medicine. Mm-hmm. Deer is the same way when it comes to something like that. So instead of adding the salt to the trophy deer mineral and ruining this mix, what we did, because we couldn't put enough in this 20-pound bag, we made up the small 5-pound bag that's higher in concentrate and salt. So you're actually, when you mix these two together, they're still getting their minerals and their vitamins, and they're getting their candy. And it will make the deer hit it quicker. Now, personally myself, on all my Indiana farms, stuff like that, where I can use it legally, I have never used a power rack because my deer just destroy the trophy deer mineral. But I've seen other farms where people have used the competitors that are higher in salt, and the deer won't hit this as hard right off the bat. So they add this to it, and they just go to town.
I was gonna say, our deer here in Georgia definitely hit it. And a Lick Magic.
And a Lick Magic.
Smells like apples. It makes me want to just put my finger in it and try it myself.
Crazy. It is.
It's crazy. And the deer, we smell it, the deer smell it 100 times more.
Absolutely. Yep. That product was developed more of what I call an attractant mineral. It's a little higher in salt, but it has 11 different trace minerals and vitamins in it. The key thing about this one here is I like sharing with people is a lot of people run feeders. A lot of guys are wanting to run just straight corn, stuff like that. This product here works very well as a topper in a feeder, where you can pour it in with the corn, whatever if you're using, cotton candy, anything, you can use this actually in a feeder itself or just a mineral lick. But for the attraction part of it, it will draw deer from miles away.
I did not know that you can just use this as topper too.
Oh yeah, it works out very well for a topper.
This is a whole new world for me, because we can't do this in Illinois.
No, we can't. Illegal. No. And I don't know why I know so much about it being an Illinois person, but it works out very well.
Let's go back to seeds, especially annuals here in Georgia. Best annuals to plant and why?
If I was here and I was going to plant, I would definitely go with something that has, a lot of people think turnips, radishes, stuff like that. I like collard greens in this area. And if you look at us, we actually have a mix that has collard greens in it, actually 2 of them. Our honey hole variety, which is our #1 selling annual, it has collard greens in it. Then we have collard greens by the pound that we sell. Collard green, unlike most brassicas, needs a heavy frost to turn them sweet. Collard greens are sweet from the day they start growing. So they don't need the frost. So from here, even farther south, they work excellent. I mean, it offers a lot of tonnage of food, very easy to grow, very easy to broadcast. You do not have to drill them, nothing like that. So collard greens is one of my favorites, but the honey hole blend actually has that collard green in with it.
How much sun do you need?
You're needing on a brassica variety like that, you're needing a good 4.5 to 5 hours of sun.
Rob, I think the most important question is perennials and annuals. When's the best time to plant them, and what's the best seed that you recommend for North Georgia?
Well, on your perennials, you can do it 2 different ways. Perennials you can plant spring or fall, where the annuals you're just going to do in the fall. So when it comes to our perennials, you're looking at our trophy clover mix, which is our clover varieties. You're looking at our Booner Buffet, which is our alfalfa. Both of them have chicory mixed in with them, with chicory is one of my favorite things. These can be planted spring or fall. I like planting them in the spring when them ground temps hit about 50 degrees. Well, down here, you can pretty much plant them anytime you want, as soon as Mother Nature allow you in the spring. So I like a spring planting. You might have issues more with weeds and grasses because of that, but I want the most tonnage in the fall. So if you do a fall planting, you won't have as much tonnage that first fall, but you'll have a lot less weed-free plot. So the weeds and grasses aren't gonna be as bad. Now with the annuals, you're looking more into that mid to late September. So looking at like our honey hole that has our collard greens in it. Fall, winter, spring is one of our oldest blends that I love. It has cereal rye in it. It's actually, a lot of people think it's ryegrass, but it's not. Cereal rye is actually a grain, and put a grain head on it. And when it comes to cereal rye will not, even though it's an annual, it won't die with the first frost. It will actually go dormant And then the next spring, about a month before spring green up, it will start growing back and offer about 30% protein for about 3 months, then die off on its own. So when it comes from a mix, you know, you look at your turkeys, they love the bug and clover and alfalfa. They love the cereal rye just as well. So the guys out there turkey hunting in the spring, they want that cereal rye in there to turkey hunt off of. So you're deer hunting off of it in the fall and the winter, turkey hunting off of it in the spring.
Talk about turnips a little bit too.
Turnips are, you know, everybody knows turnips. They love turnips, but turnips do not perform the same everywhere. So down in this area, you're gonna get a lot of greens off of them. Depending on Mother Nature, you might not get the bulbs. The bulbs might not turn sweet enough for you, but you're gonna have them sweet greens on the top for the forage.
Here in North Georgia, we have a lot of dark timber. Do we have any shade tolerant seeds that we can plant?
Absolutely. We have 2 different ones that work very well. You look at our Game Changer clover. The Game Changer clover is a forage clover variety. It's got 3 perennial forage clovers in it. It has 1 annual clover. The annual clover is there for that first year for a nurse crop to help it get going, try to help with the suppression of the weeds and grasses. That can be planted spring or fall. It's going to give you 4 to 5 good years of growth. Now, our no sweat, what you see right here, the no sweat is our annual no-till mix. It's more of a mixture of different annuals. It does have 1 perennial clover that will come back the next year. This one here, I prefer you to plant in the fall only. And if you do plant it in the spring just for a summer food, you definitely need to replant it in the fall. But both of these will grow down into that 2 to 3 hours of sunlight a day.
And everybody's favorite, this is a big question. Do you have a throw and grow where you can just throw it out, rake it up a little bit, you're going in the woods? It's for our good country boys and girls that may not have a lot of acres to plant.
Absolutely, and the Game Changer clover, no sweat, that's exactly what them 2 are. That's the 2. We call them no-till mixes. Pretty much the thing that you need to learn though is, if you go out here in this grass right here and throw that seed down, it'll never germinate. You need to at least kill the area off, seed to soil contact, no matter if it's a throw and grow, no-till type variety, or if it's a premium. You got to get the seed on the soil for that germination. So throwing it out in just a big grass type area, you'll never get germination and you won't like the outcome of it. But if you just kill that area off, rake off the debris, throw that mix out there and let Mother Nature take care of it, you'll have a good plot.
One other thing that I noticed here in Georgia, we got a lot of oaks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of squirrels too. A lot of gray squirrels here in Georgia.
Yep.
Do you have a fertilizer that can fertilize these oaks?
Absolutely. Our Jolt fertilizer, which is our nitrogen-based fertilizer, this little 32-ounce bottle will actually treat 2 acres of food plots. But what I like doing with this Jolt fertilizer is I like mixing it up in my spray tanks, and I'll find that drip edge on the tree that goes around the base of the tree, the drip edge. And I will take this and I'll just coat it, spray it all the way around it. I did it for years with just regular like 19 fertilizer to spread it around that drip edge. Now I use a liquid and I spray it around it and it works out fabulous.
And that's great for the deer.
It's great for the deer.
Early season, or I guess not early season, but like mid-season,
Mid-season.
October.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Works out perfect.
So it looks like I'll be putting the Jolt fertilizer on my oaks because it's gonna make the acorns a lot more tastier for my squirrels and of course for the deer. Acorns are important, so.
Yep, sure are.
Let's talk about the perennials. How do we maintain a good perennial crop?
Well, you know, Sydney, that's one of my favorite things to do. When it comes to your clovers and alfalfas, the biggest thing that you have an issue with is your weeds and grasses. So when it comes to the weeds and grasses, with us not having Roundup Ready seeds, because they're so expensive, I turn to select herbicides. And when I mean select herbicides, I mean a herbicide that will kill the grass or the broadleaf and not kill the clovers and alfalfas. So there's different select herbicides out there that you can use on this. There's one in particular called IMOX. IMOX will actually kill grass and broadleaves out of a clover plot or alfalfa plot and will not hurt the plants. So, or you can go the cheaper method and go with a product called Clethodim. Clethodim is actually a grass herbicide that you can spray on it. And then you have a product called 2,4-DB. Everybody's heard of 2,4-D. 2,4-D will kill it all. You want to make sure it has that B as in boy after it. So 2,4-DB is a broadleaf herbicide that you can spray on your clovers and alfalfas, and it will kill all the weeds out of it. And at that time, it's not going to hurt your clover and alfalfa. But the thing I like doing, you know, we spoke about it earlier, Our Jolt fertilizer is our nitrogen-based fertilizer. Our clover fuel is our non-nitrogen based. The difference there is when you're looking at a perennial plot like a clover and alfalfa, your legume plots, you do not want to put nitrogen on them. You're just going to feed the weeds and grasses. The clovers and alfalfas will actually suck in the nitrogen from the atmosphere, store it in the soil. The more you give them plants, more nitrogen you give them plants, the more weeds and grasses you're going to have. So when I'm spraying a select herbicide, let's say I want to kill it off with clethodim, which I'm going to kill the grass off of my clover. I will mix this clover fuel right in with my herbicide, with my clethodim, spray a one pass, and I'm actually fertilizing my clovers and I'm killing the grass out of that plot at the same time. So you can mix our liquids in at the same time. Now, I know we're talking about perennials, but let's jump to annuals. Most of your annuals are going to be a broadleaf plant. Some are going to have a grass species in them, but let's say our honeyhole, which is a straight brassica variety. You can take the clethodim, which is a grass killer, you can spray that on that honeyhole plot, that annual plot, mix in your Jolt, and you can kill the grass out of that plot and fertilize it at the same time because they love nitrogen. They're nitrogen lovers, just like this Jolt's full of nitrogen. But on your annual mixes, you do not ever want to spray any kind of a broadleaf killer, even a select broadleaf killer, because you will kill the plot.
How do you guys come up with these mixes and how do you test it?
Oh, that's a good question. That's something that takes quite a few years to do. A lot of people don't realize, they think you can just go throw something in a bag and it's going to grow properly. You know, if you look at a lot of these bags, you'll see on the back of them that actually has the percentages of each variety in them. The reason that is, you'd think if you could just throw something in a bag, you could take, you know, a quarter of this, quarter of this, quarter of this, quarter of this, that makes 100%. Seeds will not, they cannot grow that way. A lot of, especially if you're mixing, let's say your brassicas and your turnips, your brassica varieties, like your turnips, your collard greens, your rape. You get all them varieties in there. You have some plants that are that tall, some plants that grow that tall, some that grow that tall. You can't let these shade each other's out. So when it comes to making the proper mix, you got to look at, number one, where you're wanting to plant it at, what the climate's going to be like, what plants grow well in that area. Then you got to test it. You know, a lot of people think that they're buying a deer on a bag and it's no different than what they can go buy in a co-op and mix it themselves. But the mixing part of a seed blend is the most crucial thing because you have different varieties of seeds there that grow at different heights. So, and some will starve each other out for nutrition. Some are nitrogen lovers, some are potash and potassium lovers. So you really got to work with. So just for instance, we have a mix called Grade 8, which is an all-season good, great early season, mid-season, late season food into the spring and next year with a cereal rye. It took us 5 years of testing that product before we could put it on the shelf because for 4 of them years, we had to keep either adding or subtracting some of the percentages of each seed so they wouldn't compete with each other. When they compete with each other, they will literally just lay over and die. So this throwing stuff in a bag is pretty much, I mean, that's no way to do it.
Mm. So what do you have to say to the boys and girls of North Georgia that want to plant their food plots or need some supplemental feed? Why is Antler King the best? Why should they use Antler King?
Well, Antler King to me is the best, number one, because we're the founders of all this. You know, we started this in 1986. We've been in business ever since. We've been on the shelves in the box stores since 1987. And, you know, we're just a proven product that at a very inexpensive price. So that's what we really like. So when you can get something as proven as our products is through our testing facilities for a lower price, you just can't beat it.
Well, I can't wait for you guys to see our videos, and I learned a lot from Rob. So Rob, thanks for coming to Georgia.
You're very welcome.
Teaching me a thing or two about supplemental feed, planting food plots down here, and minerals. These are all
minerals, all of it.
All new to me, and hopefully we kill some big bucks this year or next year. Or honestly, the key is what we just talked about: 5 years when you really start to put the work into a farm, especially with food plots, supplemental feed, especially in the springtime when those mamas are having those babies. We're trying to grow big 130, 140 inch whitetails here in Georgia.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them.
We're gonna have a good time, and thanks for coming. Shout out to Antler King. They are the best. We've been using their supplemental feed and their minerals a whole lot this past year, and the deer love them. We love them too because they're just eating like crazy.
Great, love to hear it.